So for this video I want to do just a run through an example inning, because sometimes when things are explained, individually, it's kind of difficult to see how they all come together. So I just want to do a simple inning here to give some examples of what might happen. So one thing I added down here, this is going to be our little scoreboard, and usually if you watch a game on TV you'll see something similar to that, either down in the lower corner or up at the top of the screen. And so what each thing represents, you have the red team and their number of runs, and then you have the blue team and their number of runs, and they usually list it away team, and then on the bottom is the home team, and then the inning, and if it's the top or the bottom, so the top is the first part, and then after 3 outs they'll switch and they'll have the bottom. And then over here is the count, and that's the balls and the strikes. And actually one thing I forgot to include was the number of outs. And so to start out we would have 0 outs. So because it's the top of the first, is the very beginning of the game, and the blue team is home, so they play defense first. So you can see they're all the fielders are in their positions, and so then the red team, it would come up to bat first. So the red team would check their lineup, whatever the order the coach had put them in to bat. And so the first guy in the batting order, he would be called the leadoff man, and so he would come up to bat. So he'd step into the batter's box. So let's say the first thing that happens is the pitcher throws his first pitch, and that pitch is a ball. So you remember that a ball is a pitch that doesn't enter that strike zone, and that the batter doesn't try to swing at. And so then what would happen is we would just, the count would then go from 0-0 to 1-0, because remember the count is balls and then strikes. So it would be 1 ball and no strikes. So the catcher would throw the ball back to the pitcher, and then the pitcher, he'd get ready for his second pitch. And so let's say his second pitch is a strike. The batter swings and he misses it, and so then the count would just go to 1-1. So we'd have 1 ball and 1 strike. And so then let's say the third pitch, that the pitcher throws the ball and the batter swings and he hits the ball, and it goes out here into right field. And so the second baseman, he would probably run over and try to get it, but depending on how hard the ball is hit, he probably might not get there. So the ball rolls out and it gets to right field. And so the batter, he would then run down to first base, and he might turn and look, but eventually what he's going to do is stop at first base, and he's just going to stand on first base. And so he would then become a base runner. So the right fielder will throw the ball back into the second baseman, and then the second baseman will give it back to the pitcher. And so now we have a runner on first. Well, let's get rid of this. So now we have a runner on first base. He's our first base runner. And then the second batter in the lineup, he would come up and he would replace this batter in the box. Remember, he can, depending if he's left-handed or right-handed, he could stand on either side of the plate. Or if you're what's called a switch hitter, then some guys have taught themselves to be able to hit from either side of the plate. So the second batter would come up, and then the count, the balls and strikes, they would be reset, and so it would be a count of 0 and 0 again, and there would be nobody out. We have a runner on first. So then the process would repeat itself. So the pitcher, he would throw his first pitch, and let's say on the first pitch the batter hits the ball and he rolls it down this way to the third baseman. And so the third baseman, he's going, because remember this would then set up a force play at second base, because the batter is forced to go to first, so that means this runner is forced to go to second. And so the second baseman would see this, and so he would run over to the base. So the second baseman would run over and stand on the base, and the third baseman, he would pick up the ball and he would throw it to the second baseman, who we would say is covering second base. And so if the third baseman can pick up the ball and throw it to the second baseman, and the second baseman can catch it and touch the base before this runner can get there, then he would be out. So we would have our first out. And so usually what would happen in that situation is the second baseman, then he would attempt to throw the ball to the first baseman and also get the batter out. But let's say in this situation, the ball was hit too slow down to the third baseman, so they didn't get that opportunity. So what would happen is that because we have one out, so we would just have one. We would have one out, and then we would have a runner on first again, because it wouldn't be the leadoff man, because remember he was out at second base on the force play. So then the second batter, he would become the base runner on first. So let's say that the third batter in the lineup, he comes up and he hits a ball over on this side here, and it goes and it flies way and it hits the wall and it bounces off the wall. And so as soon as the ball is hit and the base runner is sure the left fielder isn't going to catch it, because remember, if the fielder catches it, then the base runner has to go back to the base he started on. But if it's hit so far over his head, the runner is going to know right away. So this runner is going to take off and he's going to start running, and he'll go to second, and if it's this deep, it's going to take a while for the left fielder to run out and get to it and then throw it back in. So let's say he keeps running, he goes the whole way, and he's standing on third now. And so while the base runner is running from first to third, the batter will also be running from first, and he doesn't have to stop at first because remember, the ball's way out here, so he can keep running and he can stop on second. So what would that look like? So then this is what it would look like. We would have a runner on third base, and we would have a runner on second base, because who was just the batter. So because he went to first base and then to second base on the same play, he has a double, and so that means he's on second base now.